welcome to those of you who are joining us. I'm really happy to have you here with us today, and also really thrilled to have Hailey Rowe with us today, who is a marketing and sales strategist for health coaches. And we're going to talk all about sales and marketing for health coaches today. So really, really looking forward to that. And thank you again, Hailey, for your time today. Just as we get going, for those of you who are joining us, if you want to just pop in the chat and say hi, let us know where you're calling in from. That would be awesome. And yeah, so I think what I'll do is just share a quick little intro of you, Hailey, and then we'll pass it over to you to share your strategy. So she's going to share with us today 4 basics of client attraction and also how to use pre-offers. I'm really intrigued about this one, to grow your interested leads. And of course, we'll take time to answer any questions that folks have about sales and marketing as well. So Hailey's background, as I mentioned, she is a marketing and sales coach and a strategist for health coaches. She helps health coaches get clients consistently and develop their no-brainer offers and grow their income and their impact. She shares her FAST, F-A-S-T framework, marketing and business tips in her Health Coach Nation podcast, and also in her Health Coach Nation Facebook group. That's a tongue twister. So since 2010, Hailey's worked in the coaching industry as well as in business development and marketing for several wellness companies and startups. She's also a certified behavioral change specialist and a human potential coach. So incredible experience for her to share with us today. She has a philosophy that I wanted to share as well, and it is, you can have an amazing service and impact to make, but without a strong mindset and a sales and marketing plan, your business will remain a hobby. So that's Hailey in a nutshell. So I'd love to pass it over to you to share your business and marketing strategies with us today.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Michelle. I know you're an awesome coach. One of my clients in my program actually is in your program, and she talks about how awesome you are. So thanks for having me, everybody. I help on the business side of things. As you know, Michelle helps with health coach skills. And so we thought, why not collab? So I'm excited to be here with you to talk about how to attract clients in your health coaching business. And I know it can be hard because there's a million different strategies out there, and it feels like all of them are important to do right this second. And so what I wanted to do today is just kind of share with you what to focus on and how to narrow down your focus to what's standing between you and you getting your next clients. And for me personally, as Michelle talked about a little bit, I started in the coaching industry in 2010. And what I developed throughout that time, learning, what not to do and what to do, was my FAST framework. And the FAST framework stands for followers, action, sales, time management, and transformation. And these are the kinds of things that I coach on. And I'm going to give you a quick summary about them, because before we go into the 4 basics of client attraction, only because I think if you ever get stuck or you don't know what category, like if something's a priority for you in your business, these things really matter. So the first one, as I said, was followers. And what I mean by that is, do you have a system where you're getting new potential clients in the door somewhere, whether that's on social media every week, whether that's in your own Facebook group, whether that's to your email list, whether that's, new podcast listeners, but do you have a channel where they're coming in every week? And do you have a process of nurturing them from cold lead to actually booking a discovery call with you if you sell private coaching or a group program or something like that? And if you don't, then it would be more like your course page or whatever it is you're selling. So a lot of times my clients don't have a process for that, and therefore they're never getting the chance to make offers. And at the end of the day, the way you're going to get your next client is by making a certain number of offers, subtracting the people who say no, and that equals the predictability of your business and your results. So I help you with that process. Now, the second part of the FAST framework is action. So what that means is, how do you create content and messaging and a program that is clear and compelling enough that people want to reach out to you? And same thing with like calls to action in your posts, things like that. So helping you with that writing, like, and what you're saying in your videos and that kind of thing is really, really important, because you might think something's super clear, or you might have a general niche and expect people to understand what it's all about. But if people aren't seeing it as valuable, and if it's not in their own language, it's going to be challenging to have people want to work with you. The third part is sales. So this is, of course, how do you lead your discovery calls with confidence? How do you structure your packages in a way that is sellable and priced appropriately, and the value is positioned, and it's not just seen as dollars per hour, but an actual program? And how do you coach through the common objections in your marketing so that they come up less on the calls and stuff like that? And then the last piece is time management, which, as you know, is all about taking out the overwhelm, getting focused on the top priority activities. I work with a lot of coaches who only have a certain amount of time per day, that they don't have 8 hours a day to work on their business because they're moms or they have a job or something like that. And so they don't have the luxury of just researching and downloading free trainings and hopping around to different strategies. We have to get focused on what's most important. And then the last piece is transformation. And that's two things. One, what's the personal transformation required to be a profitable, impactful coach? And so that's working through things like imposter syndrome, or I don't think I'm good enough on camera, or I'm afraid to charge for my services, things like that. And then the last piece is the transformation for your ideal clients. So what's the point A to point B of your program? Making sure you have good testimonials and social proof to use in your marketing, and making sure you have something that helps you stand out. Like, your program isn't just what everybody is doing and saying. There's something about you that stands out. So the reason why, just to recap, anytime you're confused as like, is this a priority, or should I be looking into XYZ? Figure out where does it fall within that framework, and hopefully that will help you determine if something's worth your time or not. But let's, I'm going to go ahead, and if you have questions as we go, feel free to put them in the chat. But I'm going to go ahead and share two things. One, there's kind of two different things going on here. First, I'm going to share the 4 basics of client attraction, because we're starting with a wide framework about what is required to book your next client. And then I'm going to go a little more narrow and talk about specifically one of the key parts of the 4 basics, which is the pre-offer that Michelle mentioned. So the 4 basics of client attraction include the following: connecting, engaging, giving a pre-offer, and selling. Now, what I mean by that is, with connecting, you want to be able to find your ideal clients online and or locally and connect with them. That's always the first step. And as you guys know, we all have a million different things trying to take our attention. And so connecting is not enough for somebody to just become a client. You can't just, have a follower on Instagram and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, I'm signing up for coaching. There has to be some steps in between that. So that needs to be happening, but it's not the only thing. So what I want you to think about while we're doing this training is, where do your ideal clients hang out? And what would be the most beneficial place for you to be hanging out and present and visible to find your ideal clients? So for some of my clients, that is Instagram. For some of my clients, it's doing local speaking gigs. For some of my clients, it's first just starting with a referral, like asking their current clients for referrals to connect with new people and do free consults. For some of my clients, it's LinkedIn, and being in LinkedIn groups and finding people that way and sending connection requests, things like that. For some people, it's Facebook and Facebook groups. For some people, it's being on a lot of podcasts in their niche. So there's a million different ways, but I want you to pick like 1 or 2 to narrow down on for the next, let's say, 30 to 90 days. And that's going to be really important. Now, the second part is engaging with them. So you want to get interested in people. Okay. So people want to feel acknowledged. They want to feel seen. They want to feel heard. And so if you're never asking your audience what they want, you're never welcoming them to your profile or your page. In other words, like if you get a new follower and you're never acknowledging them and never being like, hey, thanks for the follow, either via voice note or, following them back or saying something to them, then you're going to slow down your client conversion process. So it is nice to welcome them. It's not good to say, obviously, hey, buy my stuff, but it's good to engage with them and take an interest in what do they want to see, what are they working on, you know, maybe asking them a question of some kind that allows you to start to build a relationship with them. And then the third part is pre-offer. And what that means is offering to provide value or results up front for free. So it'd be like a free lead magnet, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, where they can get a taste for what you do and actually be like, wow, I trust this person now. They've given me something of value. And then the natural next step would be if they want to continue the journey together, for you to offer a discovery call or your health consult or whatever your next step in your sales process is, where you would be able to make an offer if it makes sense to work together and if they're a fit. So those are the 4 basics of client attraction. Does anybody have questions first just about that? Okay, so let's talk about now pre-offers. So because this is really one of the most important steps. Most people, here's what most people do. They connect with somebody and a lot of times they just jump straight to, hey, like, you want to have a chat? You want to do a discovery call? Where people aren't ready for that. So if you think about it, people need touch points to build trust with you. And they need to understand a little bit more about what you do. So the step between connecting with somebody and having a discovery call is giving some value up front, but it has to be tailored to what they're interested in. So in other words, that's why I say ask a question to your ideal clients to understand what they want and need. And then your pre-offer, that third stage of the 4 basics of client attraction, can be around that topic, right? And sometimes it won't be exactly that topic because you're not going to have 12,000 different pre-offers. You might only have one to start with, like one free video or one free guide or one free audio recording of a meditation or something. And that's okay. But you do kind of want to start to understand what your audience wants as a pre-offer and be having those in place. So let's talk about what this really looks like. So a pre-offer is a free baby offer that solves a specific problem or dream outcome in your niche. And it's a non-invasive, this is why it comes before the sales ask. It's a non-invasive way to take a cold lead to a warm lead. So in other words, you could be like, let's say I connect with somebody on LinkedIn and we're connecting. Great to connect. I'd love to connect with others in the blah, blah, blah field. I'd love to know, what are you working towards these days or something like that. And if now that would be a question for my niche, but you would probably have a different question. And they say, oh, I'm working on growing my clientele. Oh, well, I have a free training about growing your clientele. Do you want me to send the link? Would that be useful or something like that? So notice the difference. It's permission based. I'm not just flooding them with long messages, nothing like that. And you want to give your audience a slice of the cake, but not the whole cake. So with your pre-offer, it's not your whole course or your whole program for free. It's more of one pinpointed problem or dream outcome that they kind of want to start with. And that is the focus of it. Now, pre-offer themes can either be aligned with, like I said, the dream outcome. So let's say your ideal clients really want thriving relationships, or I guess for health coaches, it would be more, they really want, less stress, or they want to stop binge eating, or they want, to stop having sleeping problems or something like that. So their dream outcome or solving their biggest pain point would be something you create a pre-offer around. Now, if you can't go too broad, meaning you can't be like, here's how to, have more balance in your life and stop overeating and do blah, blah, blah. That's too much for a pre-offer. It has to be digestible and specific. It should also save them time, effort, money, sacrifice, or confusion. So there has to be, if they're going to take the time to actually look at your pre-offer, you want it to not be a waste of their time. So you want it to help them save some time or be convenient for them. And then you also want it to be aligned with one of the key value drivers, meaning what do people actually value? something that brings them more health, more wealth, more relationship improvements, or more time. So in other words, if you are a health coach for busy executives and you know they value their work, and you know one of the things keeping them from showing up as well in their job and getting that next promotion or something is that they're burnt out and tired and, just very easily frazzled, your freebie might be connected to helping them with the burnout so that they can, get more done in half the time, or they can ask for that promotion, have the confidence to advance in their career or something like that. So let's talk about some examples of pre-offers. Now, pre-offers could also be social media questions you ask either in your Instagram stories or on your Facebook profiles or in your Facebook group, where you're actually putting it out there to your audience to see who is going to raise their hand that they're kind of interested in connecting with you. So it can be a simple question and you have like a guide solving that. So for example, want to know how to meal prep for the whole family in just 30 minutes a week for less than X dollars on groceries? Comment yes. So the reason why that's a pre-offer is because it's aligned with health. It's short. It's saving them money, as you can see. And it's, centered around, if you're a health coach, meal prep, which is probably a part of your program, but not the whole program, that kind of thing. The second one is, want to free up 5 hours a week for self-care? Comment yes for my time batching system. Okay, so what is this saving them from? It's saving them time, it's giving them self-care, etc. The next one is, if I could show you how to stop overeating at dinner with a simple hack that takes less than 5 minutes, raise your hand if you're interested, something like that. So like I said, you could post these on your social media, and or when now it'd be a little more weird. You don't want to individually send these questions. You would be more using this for public pre-offers, and or if you were on a podcast or something, you could be like, I have a free guide that gets you 5 hours a week back for self-care. You can go to this website to check it out, that kind of thing. But when you're personally connecting with people, of course, you have to use your emotional intelligence and actually see if what they want, what they need, build a relationship, and then make the pre-offer. Okay, so disclaimer about pre-offers, because I know so many of you are perfectionists and you want to be perfect and you want to have amazing branding and all the things. A pre-offer could be as simple as sharing a PDF or Word document that you wrote up, a short video, a voice note, like you could even deliver the solution, whatever that is that you said was in your pre-offer, as a voice note via message to somebody if they said they wanted it. So it doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to go shoot a professional video. It doesn't have to be a 20-page ebook. Actually, it probably shouldn't, because that's too long. So it needs to be digestible and quick and minimum viable product, and just make it and reuse it. Or just if you don't even have one, you could still get started today if you were going to do the voice note approach. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this because good pre-offers can lead to easier sales. Once people actually can use your stuff and see benefits from it, it leads to easier sales. These are screenshots from my clients who have used pre-offers or freebies that ended up getting more discovery calls from it, ended up getting more website viewers, email list subscribers, things like that. Okay, so that's actually all I have. This is a longer presentation that I did once that has more to it, of course. And so I can put the link to this full training in the chat if you want.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Cool, I will do that. But does anybody have any questions about what we talked about, or want to share their freebie idea, or pre-offer idea, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Oh, yep. Sharon's got one. Is your pre-offer the same as a lead magnet? Yeah, good one.
Good question. Yeah, so it can be. It totally can be. Because your pre-offer, like I said, is a document, is a video, is something like that. And so a lead magnet, the difference is, if somebody raises their hand for your pre-offer, you can either send them a landing page where they can opt into your lead magnet and the lead magnet is the pre-offer, or you can just send them straight up the PDF without having your email thing set up yet. It's probably better if you're able to set up your email opt-in, because then you kind of shoot two birds with one stone. But if you're really like eager to get out there and you don't want to let tech stop you and you want to build those relationships, you can just go straight to just saying it is your lead magnet, but you don't have like an email opt-in set up yet, you know?
Right. So it's kind of like a dual purpose. Well, there's probably multiple purposes, but it is about nurturing, building those relationships, having them get to know you. And of course, we do want to get those email addresses, right? So that we can build our lists. But as you're suggesting, so if you were doing that kind of question thing on, say, an Instagram post, and you say yes in the comments if you want it, then you would just follow up with them by message and then include the document there or whatever it is. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And the reason why we want to do that is so that you can keep track of who you sent it to, and you can kind of be like, okay, how did it go? Like, did you have any questions about it? You know, that kind of thing. Versus if you just put the comment, if you put the link in the actual comments, then nobody else is going to comment that they wanted it because they already got it. And so then you can't be as supportive, you know, I mean, you can if they opted to your email list, but
yeah, so you're kind of nurturing those people individually, kind of in your DMs there. Would you, so they get the document or whatever it is, and you follow up in a few days, find out how it went. Would you at some point ask for their email address or say, hey, would you like to get on my email list? Like, how might you kind of take it further?
Yeah, so we call that like making an offer. So not all offers have to be, hey, do you want a discovery call? Hey, do you want to buy my program? So at the point where they've done your freebie and you're following up with them, you could always say, by the way, I'm going to be sharing more trainings like this and free tips, excuse me, to my email list. Would you like to get the updates, something like that, in which case,
yeah, great, awesome.
Nicole asked, I did a summer recipe book freebie at the end of June. Should I be emailing to follow up? Yeah, totally. So what would be great, Nicole, is if you just sent a short, we call it a 9-word email in marketing, where it doesn't actually have to be exactly 9 words, but it needs to be something short to invite a response. So it could be something like, hey, so-and-so, hope you enjoyed the summer recipe book. Are you looking to get more consistent with healthy eating, or are you insert whatever their goal might be. Are you working towards any health goals right now? Like something like that, where that way it invites a response for you to get to know them a little bit better. And then you have somewhere to go with them. Meaning if they say, oh yeah, I'm really trying to lose 10 pounds, you can be like, oh, okay, well, it might make sense to hop on a quick free health jumpstart and talk about some ways to get that started. And if it makes sense, we can talk about how we could work together towards that.
Awesome. Yeah, great tip. That 9-word email is a good one for sure. Yeah, so it's just to invite that, that interaction, right? That continuous sort of conversation. Yeah, beautiful. All right. Yeah. Any other questions? Just had someone join us. Yeah, so I love how you position this differently from, what we typically hear about freebies and lead magnets, that there are other things that you can do, not only, again, waiting till you have this perfected ebook and all the branding and all the good stuff, there's ways to start building and nurturing your audience, even before you've got that in place. And like you said, great to have that place where you can capture those email addresses and start building your list. But, you can get started with this piece. So I just love the mindset, like the perspective and the approach of, kind of like a pre-offer, right? And it's so much about building relationships, I think, in this field, right? And building that know, like, and trust factor so that people can get a sense of who you are before they're going to jump into that, signature program or whatever the case is. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to highlight 2 things about that. One, we call this a funnel for a reason. Not everybody that comes in the first free thing doesn't make it to the end. Right. And sometimes it doesn't mean they're never going to make it to the end. Sometimes it means it takes a year for them to make it to the end, or 3 months. If you're a high ticket offer person, it might take about 3 months ish or longer sometimes for people to build that trust with you. Now, sometimes we have different types of people that we're attracting. We have slow cookers who are like, oh, okay, I need to digest this. I need to use this. We have people who are like, I know what I want. And like, this is great, but I need personalized support. And we have some that are kind of in the middle there. So just know that the more you do this and the more it accumulates and compounds. I've had people who've, for example, heard me on a podcast, which I actually, if you guys are on podcasts or have recorded videos, that could be a pre-offer. You don't need to make something new from scratch. You could take a question that you answered on that podcast and make that a pre-offer and then send people that interview. But anyways, I was on a podcast and somebody who I worked with in my program, like 6 months later was like, I just love that podcast. And I was like, and then I found your podcast and then I binge listened and now I want to sign up for coaching. So just know like all of that stuff, even if it's not instant gratification, that you're doing the process that's going to lead to clients. And the other thing to keep in mind is if you get no response on your pre-offer, it either means that you need more people seeing it. So in other words, you know, if Facebook only shows your post to 6% of your friends or page likers or whatever, it means that you probably are going to have to post it more than once, or you're going to have to get more page likes, you know, that kind of thing. Or it means that the pre-offer wasn't wanted by your audience, in which case you can learn from that and you can be like, okay, it's been 2 weeks. No one's liked this. So I'm going to delete it and I'm going to try a different one. So don't be afraid to keep refining your pre-offers too over time.
Yeah. Yeah. So Nicole, you mentioned about your summer recipe book that you had. So it sounds to me like maybe you emailed that to your list. I'm wondering, Hailey, if you could maybe give her any other suggestions on how she could promote that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think at this point, it's still summer. So I would still be in different ways. Like, for example, rather than always saying, hey, I have a free summer recipe book, comment yes if you want it, change it up, like be like, okay, like show one of the recipes you made from your recipe book on your Instagram stories or in an Instagram reel and be like, this was so good. Like, do you want to make this? And do you want more recipes like this? Comment yes for my free recipe guide. So like show rather than tell, and show what, like give the so what in your marketing. So in other words, it's nice to have healthy recipes, but what is that going to do in my life? Meaning, am I going to have less cravings for sugar because of these healthy recipes? Am I going to be more hydrated and probably lose weight if I use these recipes because they're, you know, healthy? Like, what is the so what? And start to focus on promoting that to your audience so that you can sign ups.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, that's such a big thing in coaching, you know, when we're working with our clients. I mean, it is all about the impacts and benefits, right? You know, of where they want to get to and what that, you know, end state, that ideal place of health and wellness is for them. And, you know, coaching around that, coaching and helping your client like identify that vision and they get really excited about it. So yeah, you know, building that also into marketing can be really, really positive too. Yeah, really powerful. That's so what, you know, what am I going to get out of it, right? What's in it for me? That's another acronym, right? And those impacts and benefits. If I do, you know, get these recipes, how is that going to impact my life, my family, and help me over the summer, right? Yeah. Great point. Awesome. I was really also fascinated by your FAST framework. And I think, you know, I loved what you talked about that, because I know so many new health coaches are just overwhelmed by the marketing process. Where do I start? And it's not just the marketing process, because it's everything with now being an entrepreneur and having your own business. And so I love that you know, talked about if the activity or whatever it is isn't like one of those 4 things, then, you know, sort of ask yourself, is that where I want to be, you know, focusing my time right now? Because we can get so overwhelmed that focusing on, you know, the followers, the action, the sales, that time management, the transformation, you know, if we're focusing there, then we're making good progress, right? We're in the place where we want to be, because I know overwhelm can be a big one, right? Where do I start? And there's so much, and with all the technology. So I think it's such a great just process you have there to keep people focused on the things that are going to lead, you know, to building their business. Yeah.
Right. Well, and it's also about like, what are you not doing in your business to move you forward? So in other words,
Sure.
not scrolling social media, not comparing yourself to everybody else, not obsessing over a graphic or your logo right now when you've had zero market research or like proof of concept. Like
yeah,
things
absolutely.
like that are just such a, you know, can get us in the weeds for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of weeds to get trapped in, that's for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Just checking here. So good. I think Nicole got some ideas there, and she plans to do a recipe video this week. That's awesome. Yeah. So is there any other points that you really wanted to highlight here today, Hailey, from what you shared with us, just as a recap?
No, I think the most important thing is just asking yourself, how can I connect with my ideal clients today? How can I be engaging with them? And what is my pre-offer I can offer that I can go to anytime? And just like be focusing on that and focus on which 1 to 2 platforms you're going to rock. And Nicole, I would love to see your recipe video. So if you want to share if you're planning on doing it on Instagram or something, feel free to share your Instagram. But yeah, I really appreciate you for having me. I put the whole fast track plan training in the chat. It is a bit of it's haileyrowe.kartra.com/page/fast plan. So hopefully we can put that somewhere where people can actually click on it. But if for a simpler link, if anybody wants to connect for a free strategy consult and just talk about one pain point or struggle you're having in your business, get some ideas, and kind of explore the options to be changing that, you can go to haileyrowe.com/call, and there's a special link for everybody here.
Awesome. That's amazing. And I am going to send a replay of this out to my list, and in the comments in the Facebook group, I'll definitely get all of your links and buttons and all those good things so people can find you and learn more about all the great work you do. Yeah, and Nicole did post her her Instagram handle there, so that's awesome. We can connect and follow. So thanks for that, Nicole. So anybody else, just any final questions, comments, thoughts before we wrap it up today? I think this was a jam-packed 30 minutes. There's a lot of nuggets. I'm still digesting them, and I know there's lots that I can take away as well. So I'm looking forward to just kind of digesting everything that you shared, because I think we get stuck in this mode about, you know, lead magnet, freebie, that, and you know, I have become overwhelmed in the whole process and all the tech and all the things that you need to do. And, you know, forget about those little things, you know, and thinking about pre-offers as, you know, just a comment or sending a quick little voice note or, you know, a snippet of a video or whatever the case is. So I just love that you're trying to simplify things and just share these little tips that we can just get out there right away and start building those relationships, right? And nurturing those, because as you said, and that was absolutely my experience when I started. I mean, I had people on my list for, you know, months and years before they actually turned into clients. And it does take a while. You know, there's so many people out there and health coaches, and they do want to get to know, like, and trust you. And that consistency piece, I think, is so important as well, that we're just continually showing up and people know that, okay, when I am ready, I know that Nicole or Michelle or, you know, Hailey is there, right? And she's going to consistently be there. Oh yeah. So Sharon's asking, quick question, what's a voice note?
Yeah, so a voice note, good question, is any social media platform, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, those are the main ones. TikTok does not have one. Twitter, I don't think has one either. But when you're messaging somebody, there is a microphone that you can hold down, and you can literally just record your voice as if you were talking on the phone with this person. So you could be like, hey, so-and-so, it's me, blah, blah, blah. So, and then that's it. And then you release it and you send it. So it's just more of a personal way to connect with your audience, as opposed to, and you know, you don't always have to do voice notes. Some people don't want to listen to that if they're in a noisy place or something, but it is nice to add it in as a special touch.
Absolutely. And I've been on the receiving end of a few of those over the years, and really did feel like it was a really nice special touch. Usually they're just short, right? Because you can only record, I think it's like 30 seconds or 60 seconds or what, a minute or whatever it is. So yeah, it's nothing lengthy, but just that nice little message, and you hear somebody's voice, and, you know, I recorded this particularly for you, you know, it really does feel nice and special. So it's a great way to start building those relationships and connections as well, and engaging. Yeah, as you talked about. So awesome. Anything else from anyone? Oh, yeah, this has been great. So again, thank you, Hailey, for your time today. And like I said, I'll put all your links and I will send out the replay. So thanks for everyone who did tune in today. I know it's the middle of summer, so I appreciate your time in spending it with us today. And I hope you're taking away some good nuggets in getting started in, you know, that client attraction and starting to develop those relationships with your health coaching clients. So thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Hailey, and we will talk soon.
All right, talk soon.
All right,
Bye.
bye.